Anansi and the Yam Hills. Once in a before time, there lived an old woman who had magical powers. Her name was Five. She was also so evil that some people called her a witch. Five hated her name. No one knows why her parents called her the number 5. When she was a child, other children would make fun of her name. Sometimes, when she was within earshot, they would look out the corner of their eyes and giggle as they said, "Give me 5." When she grew up, Five decided to put an end to the name calling, so she created a weird spell. From this day on, anyone who says 5 will disappear. This spell immediately caused a problem in the country. No one could say that number again without disappearing. Children could no longer recite their 5 times tables. People had to drop the word 5 from their vocabulary. In Five's village, the unlucky number was no longer 13. Once a customer asked a merchant, "How much is that blue t-shirt?" "That shirt is $5." Suddenly there was a loud swoosh. Before the merchant could finish his sentence, he disappeared right in front of the dumbfounded customer's eyes. A crafty spider named Anansi lived in Five's village. He had heard about the witch's spell. Times were very hard. Anansi was not a farmer, and he had no food at all to eat. His wife and children were starving. Since Anansi was small and not a very good worker, he could only rely on his brain to get whatever he needed to survive. He said to himself, "Things are tough, boy. I must make this witch's spell work for me." Anansi went to the road that led to the village's marketplace. He chose a spot on the side of the road where everyone on the way to the market would have to pass. There, near a large guangu tree, he decided to pile up 5 mounds of the rich brown soil. These mounds he called yam hills. In the top of each yam hill, he planted an African yellow yam. Then he drove a stake next to the yam on which its vine could grow. Anansi carefully watered the yams until each one began to sprout. Anansi made a web-like hammock in the guangu tree and patiently waited for someone to come by. Early one morning, after each yam shoot had poked its head out of a mound, Anansi sat next to his yam hills. Soon, Brother Dog came on his way to the market. Dog balanced a bankra basket of sweet-smelling fruits on his head as he walked down the road. "Good morning, Brother Dog," said Anansi in a sugary voice. "I know that you are busy, and I feel so stupid. I am not an educated man like you. Would you help me to count how many yam hills that I have planted here?" Anansi asked. "You should have gone to school to learn how to count," Brother Dog said grumpily as he walked away from Anansi towards the market. Anansi climbed up into the guangu tree and waited. The next person to come by was Brother Bull. He carried a large basket of fruits on his head. "Good day, Bro Bull," Anansi said in a sad voice. "Could you just spare me 1 minute?" Anansi begged. "What can I do for you, Anansi?" Bro Bull asked. "I was a yicky and sickly child, so my parents did not send me to school. I never learned my ABCs. I planted all these yam hills. Can you help me to count them?" Anansi asked. "But of course, Anansi," Bro Bull replied. "You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Swoosh! As he said that number, Brother Bull disappeared into thin air. The basket of sweet ripe fruits that he had been carrying on his head fell to the ground. Anansi snatched up the basket of fruits and rushed home to eat them all. For a long time, Anansi did very well, tricking some passerby into counting his yam hills. He grew fat from all the baskets of food he had gathered. He had tricked brothers Turtle, Owl, Mongoose, Hare, Peeniwali the Firefly, and even the tough Bro Scorpion. Mrs. Guinea Fowl was a nice young mother of newly hatched chicken. She could say no to anyone. She and her husband shared the chore of selling their produce in the village. That day it was her turn to go to the marketplace. She loaded up her handbasket and headed for the market. As she got closer to the yam hill, Anansi was nowhere in sight. Just as she was about to pass yam hill number 4, Anansi the spider lowered himself down from his perch in his guangu tree. He called out in his sugary voice, "Good morning, Mrs. Guinea Fowl. Could you help me with a problem?" "Of course, Anansi," the polite Mrs. Guinea Fowl said. "I have these yam hills here, and I don't know how to count. Would you help me, please?" Anansi begged. Mrs. Guinea Fowl, who had seen Anansi trick Bro Scorpion, walked over to the last yam hill and climbed up on top of it. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the one I am standing on. What? What are you doing? That's not the way you count, Anansi shouted angrily. What do you mean, Anansi? Mrs. Guinea Fowl said. I don't know of any number that's called the one I'm standing on. Start again, Anansi ordered. Mrs. Guinea Fowl began again. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the one I am standing on. That's not what you're supposed to say, Anansi shouted even more angrily. Well, if you are so smart, what am I supposed to say? Mrs. Guinea Fowl asked. Anansi shouted, You are supposed to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops. Suddenly Anansi disappeared, leaving Mrs. Guinea Fowl with all the loot that he had gotten from tricking his victims. What do the Jamaicans say the moral of the story is? Greedy choke puppy, or a greedy puppy will soon choke.